No.
We haven't seen it.
We've lived it, Sharon.
Yeah.
We've lived
Honestly, I have more questions to ask you.
Okay. I guess the first where we start is literally a year ago. We were on the Zoom. We were talking about you guys starting dating. A year later, you win $1 million. You win the Amazing Race. How do you feel? How does it feel to finally be like, okay, I can talk about it?
When you put it that way, it sounds like you're a good luck charm. Like every year we need an inaugural Zoom call with you before we kick off the year.
Okay.
It's surreal. It's surreal. Like going on Big Brother was surreal. Us starting dating was honestly surreal to me. And then going on the Amazing Race, what an opportunity. And then we won. Like what? Like,
yeah,
it's just unbelievable. It's just so amazing. Like what a fantastic opportunity.
Yeah.
Like it's just unbelievable.
Yeah, honestly, like every step of the way was just like, I think, so going back to that first interview we had with you, Sharon, I remember at the end of it, you're like, hey, so like any plans coming up? And me and Claire like kind of hinting at the erase. And me and Claire were like, nope, not really. No. Like, we're probably going to move back to New York. And you're like, okay, cool. All right.
You didn't do that either.
Yeah, true.
And yeah. So basically what we told you we were going to do was wrong. But what we didn't say ended up happening. But I think that just goes to show like how like unbelievable it was, because we didn't expect it. We get onto the race and we were like, okay, it's such a shot in the dark that we actually win this thing. So let's just enjoy this while we're still on it. And like, let's just try to be on the show as long as we can so that we can travel to all of these like amazing places, which is like often overlooked when talking about the race. Like it's not just $1 million, but out of all the shows that I've done, this has been like the big, like, not the best opportunity, but the best, I don't want to say it's the best experience either, but,
you got to do cool things.
We got to do cool things. I'm thinking about how to like politically say this. We got to do very cool things. So it's like you want to be on the show for as long as possible as well to have those opportunities. And the fact that we got to do all of it, I remember me and Claire were in the final leg. We finished all of the challenges and now we're just running to the pit stop. We run into the room and then we see everyone, all of our cast, Phil, all the camera guys standing in auditorium, like clapping, cheering our name. And I don't know if they put this in the edit, but I turned to Claire and I was like, I still can't believe this. Like I was expecting us to run up to the mat and Phil was gonna say, unfortunately, we have to give you a 2-hour time penalty because you're a Big Brother team, like something crazy. Like I did not believe it. I probably still won't believe it until I watch the episode.
Fair. Was it hard keeping it a secret? I mean, this was filmed over 6 months ago. You have a lot of friends in this world. Was it hard?
No one knows.
Yeah, no one still knows. It's been.
I swear, no one knows.
People are very nosy. Like, like of course, like fans come up and ask us, like, did you win? But really, it's like all of our friends are really like, did you win? What happened? What happened? I think you guys won. I think like trying to trip us up, trying to trick us. And we've just been, who knows? Gotta watch.
It's like funny. I'll have like really close friends of mine, like people I've known for years, like come up to me and be like, hey, like who won the race? Was it you? And I was like, I can't tell you, man. He's like, okay, yeah, no worries. And then I'll just have a complete stranger in the airport recognize me and come up to me and he's like, hey, you can tell me, DX, like, who won the race? I was like, who are you?
He'll be on Twitter the next day or an hour.
They're like, bro, come on, you can tell me. I was like, what is your first name?
Well, before we get into the finale a little bit, like, I know you guys got a new apartment. Any other update, or are you guys just living large right now, just enjoying it?
No update. I mean, if you watched the finale episode, I don't know if they aired this, but...
Oh, they aired it. I know what you're going to ask.
Okay.
Wait, no, say it.
There's a couple things that went out. Some of them, I'm hoping they cut. Some of them, they might have left in. The thing that I'm thinking about specifically, though, is Phil asked us, like, any plans for us coming up? And I was like, oh, I think me and Claire are going to be starting a family. And Phil's like, what? And I was like, yeah, we're going to be adopting a dog pretty soon. And so that hasn't specifically happened.
That wasn't in there, but they kept the proposal in.
Can't imagine what they chose to air instead.
Yeah, they kept that in.
Every cameraman in like a 2-mile radius zoomed in. And so I was like, yeah, we're adopting a dog, and that hasn't happened, but we have.
You guys have enough cats, no?
Yeah, we have the cat.
We have a cat keeping us busy, so that's pretty much it right now.
Yeah, and I did actually quit my job before I went on the race. And I've kind of just been enjoying some time off, I guess influencing, but
as you should.
Yeah, and so I never took time off after Big Brother, so I'm planning on going back, actually getting a job now. So I've enjoyed my little time off, but it's time to get back.
You also won, so you have a little bit of a cushion, which is
that is what's nice, I think. My plan was always, no matter what happened, if we won or lost, I would take time off.
Yeah.
But then, and the knowing that the money's there has made it a little bit better.
Basically, we needed to win the race. You remember Greek mythology? Maybe it was the Romans. They had this war, but then the Greeks burned their boats at the beach. So they had no turning back. And they're like, now we need to go to war. That was me and Claire going on to the race. We're like, we're both going to quit our jobs. So we need to win this. There's no turning back now.
It worked. I want to know how you guys prepare. I know how you prepared for the race. By the way, Claire, your parents are, they should be in a business to prepare.
Yeah.
We joked about that with them. We were like, you start a boot camp, an Amazing Race boot camp, training people before the race.
So in terms of the finale, Derick, I noticed you didn't even bother with your glasses, right? Did you put your contacts in right?
Yeah, well, we learned from Iceland. We were we're not having this happen again. In the leg prior to the finale, there was a swimming challenge. So me and Claire wasted 5 minutes trying to put in contacts. Yeah. And Claire couldn't even get both of my I'm saying it like it's her fault. It's not her fault. Claire couldn't even.
Your eye wouldn't enable me to do it.
We couldn't put in both contacts. So I'm literally doing the challenge with one contact in, half blind. And I'm competing like this whenever I'm trying to look at something. So going into the finale, we were like, okay, we're fixing everything. So full contacts from the very start.
Yeah, I was like, I don't really know how we would swim in Nashville, but I was like, no chances. Anything we can do, we got to do it.
Yeah, I was wondering because I noticed the other teams got down to one bag, which you guys did the whole time. Did they allow you to drop all your bags, or no? You had to carry one. I'm trying to remember.
You had to bring your bags to, I think your bags to start, but then you could drop them at any point along the race.
Yeah.
Because it is kind of weird how we've been with COVID, certain precautions have to happen. So you're always in a hotel room. So it's not like we're running off a plane with our bags. So to just keep it fair, they were start with you can do whatever you want with them.
Yeah. But that was a explicit rule that they told us before we started this leg. They came by everyone's hotel room and said, what you checked into the hotel with, you have to run the leg with tomorrow. And after the leg starts, you can do whatever you want with your bags. You can drop it off, leave it. But they were like, we don't want people leaving stuff in the hotel room and then running without the weight of it.
Yeah, I remember though at one point you were I'm going to throw the bag down in an alley to try to throw people off and make people go the wrong way.
Yeah. At one point in the race, so me and Claire are running to the last challenge. And it's a good run. It's probably a mile. And you're running through the streets in Nashville. It's really windy. So I was like, okay, Claire, I'm going to drop my bag off into an alleyway that's off the path. And people are going to think we ran in this direction. And then they're throw them off the path. But I didn't end up. Claire was like, that's the dumbest idea I've ever heard.
I'm like, people just won't see it.
Or no one's gonna see it. There's too many people around.
Yeah, or they'll be like, oh, they got lost.
Or I think Derick got beat up. What's this dusty bag doing?
The intention was good.
Yeah.
Wait,
I was he's gonna win us the race.
That last challenge looked hard for me. Obviously, though, Derick, you play piano. Claire, you're really good at memorizing. Did that help? How long do you estimate that took?
It was the perfect challenge for us.
Yeah, it really
almost.
was.
Like I've played piano for 10 years of my life, and none of that really mattered at all. But I just like to brag. I just want to brag a little bit.
I'm good at piano. Actually.
Piano for 10 years of my life. I hate. So, didn't matter. Claire actually has a good memory, which is the important part. So when it came to like doing the challenge, it was like playing all of the keys, memorizing which key correlate to which image, and then doing that in under like 9 seconds or
12 seconds.
12 seconds. So doing it in like a very quick time. And I think the only time like knowing Olivia piano came into play is I could label each key with its note.
No.
I'd be like, that's a G, that's an A. And it's funny, like around like halfway through, I was telling Claire, I was like, hit G. And Claire was like, I don't know what the G looks like. These all look the same.
Yeah, I know like middle C, and that's it. And then I have to be like A, B, C, D.
But it's helpful because like me and Claire both, we use mnemonics when we memorize stuff.
Yep.
So we have to associate like the thing we need to memorize with like some common phrase or like image in our mind. So if you just look at all of these keys, there's nothing differentiating them. Like the one at the left, the one that's second from the right. Yeah. So the thing that helped was I would label them all with the notes and be like, okay, this is G. And then we'd come up with like G for,
Yeah. I feel like it just like even having that, I remember still, it was like GAC or GAGC something.
Yeah.
How long did it take us, would you say though? It took us a while.
I'm just laughing because you said GACH and H isn't in there, but insider joke. It probably took us like an hour even with that because there were some like missteps. Not an hour, like
45.
Yeah, like 30 to 45.
Yeah, I guess 30 to 45.
Time feels weird on the race.
Yeah, like, it does feel weird. Like people always ask like, oh, how long did an entire leg take? And I'm like, 2 hours. And Derick's like, what? It was like 8 at least. I'm like, oh, you're right.
But that challenge, between 30 to an hour. And I think they'll probably have to air this. In the very beginning, me and Claire were just taking the exam all wrong. Yeah. Because one of the things that we've been doing on the race is I'm a slow reader and Claire's a fast reader. So sometimes Claire will just like read off the additional rules. So on camera, there's like the front side of the rules, which is like a quick sentence, and you flip it over and it's like a novel. Yeah. And it's like everything you need to know about this challenge, all the rules. So we flip it over and I'm already gone. And Claire's actually the one that's like sitting there reading the additional rules. And one of the things in additional rules I didn't read, it was something about like a pedal. So I didn't realize this. So we spent like the first half of the challenge trying to take the test without pressing the pedal, which is how you start the test. So we were just pressing all of the keys in order, and then we'd look around at production and be like, okay, guys, like, no, that's right. Like, are you guys gonna give us any feedback? Like, there's no wrong, like, right? And then I'm staring out to like literally
the abyss.
The abyss of like 30 people. All you can see is like your eyeballs.
Yeah, the like, gleam of the cameras.
Like standing in the dark and no one's saying anything. And then me and Claire just looking at each other and we're like, you guys are sabotaging us. Like, we need you to tell us. We have 5 minutes left. Molly and Emily just ran in. And then eventually I was like, okay, Claire, like, can you just like hand me the rules? And I read it again. I was like, oh my God, the pedals.
Yeah.
How far behind you would you say the teams were at the finish line?
So at the memory challenge, everyone was there at the same time.
Yeah, they showed up staggered, but by the time we left, everyone was there.
Molly and Emily were probably 15 to 20 minutes behind us. And then Lewis and Michelle were probably 15 to 20 minutes behind them. And I don't know how much time we were at memory before like Lewis and Michelle got there or before Molly and Emily got there, honestly, either.
Time is weird.
Time is very weird.
Yeah, time is weird. Like I could not for the life of me tell you how many minutes it was, but I could tell you exactly what happened in order by the second. It's like I remember everything that vividly, but I couldn't tell you like how long that took at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, the entire final leg, you guys were, I mean, it was close, but you were pretty much pulling ahead every time. But was there a point where you were like really worried about falling behind, or you were like, we feel good, like we're...
What? When we got lost trying to find parking.
Every single time, like when we showed up to the bridge and when we showed up to the Gibson guitar, we really struggled to find parking because we would be the first ones there. And so there wasn't there's marked parking, but there weren't any other cars for us to look at. So we would circle we would circle for like 10 minutes trying to find the parking, both freaking out, both being like, the car could come up any moment and be parked somewhere and we're just behind.
Like we were doing dumb things. I remember, okay.
They didn't show those.
No. They didn't have enough time. It would have been the whole episode. Us just trying to find parking. So when we tried to go to Gibson Guitar, and I think this is one of the like hard things about being first. Of course, it's like awesome you're in first, but when you're in first, you can't follow anyone. So you really have to like make all of your own decisions and like set the tone for like everyone else that's coming. So we're driving to Gibson Guitar. We see Gibson Guitar. I'm like, okay, Claire, that's the door we need to go into. And now we just have to find marked parking. We're driving along the street. I don't see any marked parking. I was like, okay, well, let's like just do like a little like U-E. So we turn back around, drive around the block. At one point, we literally drive into a parking garage, drive through like 2 floors of a parking garage, and then we were like, okay, what are we doing? It's definitely not going to be
not here. Like, it has to be closer to the building.
And then I'm like taking tickets, paying for them. I was like, no, guess that one wasn't it. You want to try the next one?
It looked like it was right in front, no?
It was right in front.
But it was dark out. That was the thing. It was
it wasn't.
Very hard to see the flags.
Okay,
No.
I have thoughts about this.
Please.
So the way parking spots are usually marked on the race is they'll have a red and yellow flag, or like they'll have a red and yellow sticker. So obviously we're looking for red and yellow, but I'm looking for like a flag or a sticker. We saw those spots. We saw the spots we were supposed to park at, and they had red and yellow signs that looked like illegal parking signs. So like if like go to a parking spot and then like you'll see like a red sign that says like restricted parking. That's what the sign looked like. It looked like it said like restricted parking. So I was like, oh, okay, they must have like blocked these off, and they put like bags over the meters. So everything made it look like
it was just like
don't
closed.
park here. So we saw it.
Don't park here because something's happening here.
Even
for
when
us though.
Oh, okay. So now I remember what I thought Phil was going to say at the finish line. I thought Phil was going to say you illegally parked at Gibson Guitar, because even when we were running up, I was thinking in my head, I was like, Claire, I don't think that's where we're supposed to park, because it was red and yellow, but everything about it made it feel illegal. So I was like,
I mean, are there that many people going to Gibson Guitar at night?
No. I don't know what I was thinking. I was like, they must have blocked us off, and these are like the production parking spots that they're saving for themselves. And I was like, we should just park in that garage, Claire.
Yeah, it's like your race mindset is a little wonky. You know, you're not really processing. But definitely those moments we were like, oh, we might get caught. Or when we were leaving Gibson Guitar, we saw Michelle and Lewis pull up. And we're like, okay, this is about to be just like a run. And very easily, you know, they could just pass us. Because you just never know.
Yeah. On the run to Gibson Guitar, did they ever show me trying to carry all 3 guitars?
I don't know if they did.
Okay, no.
I think Claire had one the whole time, if I recall.
Yeah, okay.
2 quick questions, Vince. I'll be very quick. But I know you guys talked at the finish line, like, obviously, this was a test of your relationship to some extent, but like, it seemed to go well. Like, what did you guys take away from it? And do you think your relationship is stronger after the race?
Oh, 100%. So this was the journey. We went into the race and I was like, me and Claire are going to win this. I was like, I cannot imagine us fighting over anything. I can't imagine a stronger relationship. Day 1, I was like, we're going to break up. We're going to break up. Like, this is so hard. This is impossible. Like, oh my God. And then I think after that, it was just been like a climb back up. And I think we're definitely like stronger than even when we started. I think at the very beginning, I had illusions of grandeur around like how good our relationship was, because we haven't been tested. So I didn't know. Yeah. But then we got actually tested. And then now I think our relationship actually is where I thought it was, but it was not.
Yeah. I think like, we definitely had parts when we were on the race and we were just like, I don't like this person. Like, this sucks. Like, this is not fun.
I was like, Lewis, you just want to switch? But come on, and you can just do this.
The thing is, like, you have to be together. And I do understand why people are like, you go on the race and like, you're going to break up or like, you're going to make it work. And we just were really required to talk about like, how do we communicate? How do we want to solve problems? And be very honest and like, be very real with each other in a way that I think a lot of couples don't have to be necessarily and still be happy. And so that just made it so much stronger, and it's like made it so much more like applicable when we get into like fights or whatever outside of the race too. So I do think it was really a test, which I think is very cliche that people say. But I think that it did make us a lot stronger.
Yeah. I realized sometimes when Claire's hungry, I realized sometimes when Claire's angry, she's just thirsty.
Yeah.
It's just something I've never experienced before in my life. I was like, wait, Claire, have you tried a Snickers bar?
Have you tried a water bottle?
Yeah. Dehydrated. Okay, so my last question is just like, Derick's been on so many shows this year. Are we taking a break? Claire, are we getting you on Survivor? Like, what's next?
Well, one of the funny things is, when Claire quit her job, she was like, I want to take like a hiatus afterwards and write a book about how to win reality shows, specifically Survivor. And
the one show I haven't done.
So this is before we
That would be cool.
It would be like a great concept, and just talk about like the social strategy, all of it. And I was like, well, Claire, I think you are a huge fan of Survivor and have a lot of knowledge, but I don't know. Don't you think it's bad that like you've only ever lost competition shows? Like, don't we need like a little bit of experience, like actually?
Well, she
like,
won now.
Win it.
Exactly.
And then we actually ended up winning Amazing Race, and I was like, maybe you could write that book now. Like, so I know Claire's been kind of thinking about that.
Love that.
Yeah. I think we, so that is what's going on. But I do think we are taking a little break now. Nothing on the horizon, obviously.
You're going to tell me that anyway.
Well, yeah, that is true. But, I think they know that I would love to do Survivor. I think Derick would like to do Survivor too. But, we've...
Claire's already told me if me and her ever did Survivor in the same season, she was like, I would cut you in a minute. Like, I would cut you in a heartbeat. You're out of there.
I think I would need to, I'd need someone to win challenges. I'd be more worried I would get voted out. Oh God.
Yeah.
But, we've won something, so I feel like this is a nice bookend if this is the end of television for us.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, congrats. Like, honestly, that's amazing. I'm so happy for you guys.